Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out GreedFall 2, The Dying World. Which, I was really surprised when I saw the tweet that said this game was coming out. I was like, really? They're making a sequel to GreedFall? I remember when GreedFall came out. I have not played GreedFall, and the reason I did not play GreedFall is because when GreedFall came out, I remember a bunch of people pooping on it. And I was like, oh man, this game must not be very good. Everyone's saying a bunch of bad stuff about it. They're saying it's buggy and janky and the story's awkward and you can't like do things and yeah. And I was like, oh, well, that game's I guess just a failure. And I moved on from it, right? And then apparently that wasn't true because apparently the game sold over 2 million copies. And while it definitely still was not, like, super well critically received, because I did go and check that out, the game sits at, like, a 7 out of 10, which, I mean, you know, you're like, 7 out of 10, not bad. That's like, flat average when it comes to video game scores. Like, that's not good. Like, seven's not what you want. You want better than a 7. And so, like, I was surprised that this was getting a sequel, but apparently it did better than I thought it did. So here we are. And I've talked to some other people since then. What is it with the internet, by the way, with changing its opinions years later? Because I remember people dogging on this game, right? And then I was like looking around and talking to people about this game, and they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. And I'm like, it is? And I've been seeing the same shit with like Final Fantasy 13, lots of Final Fantasy games actually, especially like 13 and 15. When they came out, they were lambasted for being garbage, right? And now today, they're like, yeah, those games are good. And I'm like, you guys are lying. And there's a bunch of other things that I could give examples to where people 5+ years ago were saying one thing, and now today they're saying the exact opposite. Obviously, probably different people, but regardless, the internet is one entity. So, regardless of that, let's see what GreedFall 2 looks like. I'm also curious how this works, but whatever. Yeah. Well, the models look the same. Yeah. So far, you could have convinced me this is GreedFall 1. It's not a bad thing. GreedFall and their whole publishing is AA, right? It's like a step above indie, but it's not super big budget. That was it? The fuck? It's Focus Interactive, so yes, AA. Yeah. I'm really disappointed with that trailer. And I'm not disappointed because the trailer was bad. I'm just disappointed with how little it showed us. So I do know a decent bit about GreedFall 1. And basically, the story starts out that you're playing as... you start out as a fucking colonizer, right? You start out as a British guy coming to colonize the lands. And you're setting up shop. And then the lands are inhabited by a bunch of druids, basically. And so then you get the conflict of the natives of the land that are druids and magical creatures versus the wicked empire, right? With the guns and the war machines. And then they go into a conflict, blah, blah, blah. The thing that is, like, you are the special person that is the person between. Because even though you were a member of the colonizers, you have the ability to attune with the magical energies just like the druids do. And so then you kind of get to decide which direction you want to go towards and you know that moral compass play. I don't know how the game ends though, and I don't know how much control you get over the ending in terms of you can make the Empire win or make the Druids win or try and find a middle ground or how that works, okay? I don't know the ending, and that's fine, But the reason that I'm confused is because this looks like the same game. It looks like there were some druids in the forest doing a ritual, and a bunch of colonizers were like, "We got hunting dogs and guns, and we're coming for you." What? Maybe the ending of GreedFall 1 did not achieve anything. Maybe it didn't solve anything. Maybe there was no victor. Maybe nothing was. I don't know. But I'm really curious because I feel like there has to be something that led into GreedFall 2 in such a way that either it's such a lackluster ending at the end of GreedFall 1 that it leaves so open to have the exact same scenario still playing out in GreedFall 2, or they decided some sort of canonical ending to GreedFall 1, because I don't believe it had a static ending. Yeah. I don't know. That trailer does not do anything for me, though. But that said, I do actually want to play GreedFall because I've been hearing people talk about it, and they said, a little bit of the same stuff of like, yeah, it doesn't run the best on newer computers, which I have. It runs better. It has some decent gameplay elements, but there's some like kind of chunky writing, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe it could be fun. So I don't know where this falls though. But in order to gauge my interest on this, I'd probably want to actually just go play GreedFall 1. It's not a super long game, so the same scenario, just bigger and worse now is what you'd assume. Yeah, maybe. And it could be that there's new factions, essentially. It could be that instead of A versus B, it is A versus B versus C versus D. That there were groups of druids and groups of the Empire that, or A versus B versus C is what I'll say. Or we'll put D in there too. So you could have like, A is the Empire that still wants to control everything. B is the druids that just want freedom or whatever. C is the group, like the allegiance between the two that was formed from them finding common ground. And then you could introduce D as an extra enemy faction that's just like the void, like monsters from beyond that have come to quell, that have come to feed on the chaos or something like that. Demons. So there's definitely ways that you could still have it play out the same way, but have a new dynamic. But I don't know. What do you think? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you play GreedFall 1? And if so, what did you think about it? How are your thoughts today? Did you have different thoughts about it before when it came out versus now? Where do you sit on GreedFall? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep with the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. Speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can check out together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. But we're going to get out of here, so if you do watch those other YouTube videos, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you, and enjoy.